Jesus Christ.
I think
the
few
baby
weeks ago.
ate me.
No, I don't think it was the baby. I think it was me. I think it was me when I was in that car because I was really, really ill about a week before.
Hi, welcome to the Door Talks. We're going to do a very quick Andor update on episodes 4 to 6. We're only doing Andor, so anything else. Andor season 2.
Sorry, I was being stupid.
So we're not going to do. We're just trying to do it as quick as possible. We're just going to talk about Andor. So spoilers for season 1 and season 2, 1 to 6.
Very sunny and lovely.
It's incredibly sunny.
It's
I'm on my way
really
to work.
nice.
I've got my boots on. Gorman.
It's all about the Gorman front. Have you ever been to Gorman?
I've never been to Gorman.
That was episode 1's name. So
Yeah.
Four's name. This was a real slowdown in my mind.
It was to me, it was World War II espionage.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of allegories for that with the old French and German sort of.
Yes,
sort
the French
of
German
things.
language, and then so many people listening in, or other people. Every single person is mic'd. Every single other person on every item in every house and everything is just mic'd. Everyone's listening on everybody. But let's sort of just go through it again, like the kind of
bugs, wasn't it?
so many
Bugs
bugs.
and bugs.
So the sort
Spiders
of
and bugs.
the spiders, the kind of story thread. It skips ahead 1 year.
Yeah.
Cassian and Bix have been doing missions for Luthen, involving also killing a soldier recently.
Yeah, that was
first
the
I
most
was like,
recent one.
who's that guy? Do I remember him from the last episode?
Yeah,
but
no,
obviously
you have
a
to
year's
think about it.
jumped. So Cassian's sort of protecting Bix, but Bix is obviously having a bit of a breakdown of sorts. So she's using drugs to sort of stay on top of things and keeps having these dreams about Dr. Gorse. Then that's sort of a thread with Cassian involved to an extent.
Yeah, Cassian's very worried about her and basically is constantly trying to like make it so she's coming with him.
Yeah.
On these gigs, but
And
obviously that's gonna.
And it's the thing of, is he caring more about her or the rebellion? You know what I
Yes.
mean? Is what is the thing? Why did he kill that guy? Is it the rebellion, or was it just because he
Well, it was
saw
more
her
to
face?
protect her.
To
Yeah,
protect her,
But
yeah.
that's the thing. Like, is he compromising the missions because he's trying to protect her?
Yeah.
I think that was the main.
And
threat.
to be honest, sorry, my voice is fucked today. Cassian was like a bit of a floater, for a better word, in these 3 episodes. He was sort of. Do you know what I mean? He was sort of going on a bit of a recce to Gorman to check things out, and then he was
Yeah.
kind of like, do you know, actually, fuck this. I'm not really into this.
He feels like he's a bit more. He's like kind of got into his job, and now he's
like a
worked out the
consultant.
things. Yeah, that's the thing.
He was literally
He's
a
worked out the
consultant.
things that work and the things that don't work, and the things that are going to be more troublesome. You know, when you first get a job and you're like, "Yes, Luthen, I'll do everything you want," and now he's like, "Nah, you're fucking taking the piss here. You're being a bit of a dickhead." And clearly, Luthen has done that throughout his entire.
Well, it's past a year. He's just been, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but also because clearly, as it's shown later, Cinta's been out.
Yeah.
And other people have been out. He's not had as many people to rely on, so that's
Yeah.
why he's like, "We did you strong."
Yeah. Well, he
Ninja
Bix
Star.
to be sort of back on the level really, so she can go on missions. And
So
then
you
you
get sent to
Gorman. So you've got Cyril's working on Gorman as the what's it, the holder, not the holder fucking records. What's
It
it
is
called?
basically the whole records. Yeah,
the
it's
adjudicator.
basically like
The fucking not HSBC. I can't speak.
HMRC.
I see. Yeah.
It's kind of is that. I think it's that, but it's also like all of like making sure you got prime permission for that particular, that particular giant armor.
I know we're jumping all over
center.
here, but you have seen the episode. So
You have seen them?
Yeah, you have seen the episode. So I'm just going to say this right away.
Get over
They're
it,
building
you can't understand
they're
it.
building some big thing in the middle of the town, which you don't think you really. I can't even remember if you even see.
You
they
do
keep
see a little bit of
mentioning
structure of it.
and they're like, "Is it an armory? Is it an office?"
It's really
I
not.
just thought it was Mr.
Drills.
Burns's. Johnny does the slanting drilling company on The Simpsons, where
Right,
he's building
okay,
that building, and then it's actually just mining. He's taking the oil from one of these Springfield. So it's just, I imagine it's just this building which says it's like office, like an office or something. But really, it's either a drill to drill out I can't remember the spider web, not the spider web stuff, but the
Road, yes.
the crystals, whatever they need to power the Death Star or whatever. But that's what I was imagining.
On the dish of the Death
With
Star.
just loads of like scaffolding around this thing that was just a big drill going. I don't think it's an armory. I think
No, it's not an armory, but they think it's an armory because
Yeah.
they can't understand what else they'd want from Gorman.
the Empire wants stuff inside Gorman, but they need a reason to basically strip mine the planet. So they've put Cyril in there, who's very loudly going, "Do you know what, these Gormans are misunderstood? I think they've got a lot of stuff going on." The Empire's being a bit of a dick to them, very obviously, because he knows he's being bugged.
Do you think the mum has any clue, or do you think they just let the mum loose? They just went,
Oh, mum can do it
she'll
fine.
just be a fucking nightmare.
I think she goes
she'll
and
be
sees the
best
Emperor all the
person.
time and just has tea with him. She's just everywhere.
You're not.
But yeah, so basically it's just, and Cyril thinks he's Mr. James Bond, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm tricking everyone, but
He's loving it.
But the rebels aren't. Basically, it was a really similar thing to last episode, last sort of arc, where you've got these rebels who sort of know what they're doing, but they don't really know what they're doing. So do you know, like the people who are on the Avon Fort, where they were sort of just really disorganised, and these people, I think they sort of they've got this information, but it's too easy. Like, they've been fed this information, but they're like, no, this is definitely right. We've checked Cyril's CV, and it's like, oh, he had a bit of a problem on Morlana 5, whatever the fuck it is. I can't remember what it's called. Right. But it's too easy, and Cassian basically gets sent by Luthen, go and check what's going on, pretend to be this kind of sassy designer guy. I loved his like thing. No, but he got there and was like, this is too easy. Like, you're getting this information. I wish they just showed him like a Polaroid of Cyril going, but they're like, who gives this information?
It's like, this guy.
100%, we know this guy. And Cassian's just like, this isn't worth it, because these guys are going to get fucked, basically. And he leaves, because I was really surprised, because he goes, Luthen's like, you were there for like 2 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And Luthen's like, yeah, I know. Like, basically, he knows they're going to get got. But he needs that.
But he doesn't care about it. Because
he needs a reason for the Emperor.
But surely it would. But obviously now, because we know with dramatic irony, we're knowing that actually that is the worst shout in the world, because obviously that's just playing right into what the Emperor wants.
Yeah.
Which is like,
But he doesn't care. Like, even if Gorman gets completely destroyed, it's just another reason. Yeah, but even to Luthen, it's just another reason to go. The Empire's doing this awful thing. It's going to spark more rebellion. That's all Luthen wants. But so basically, you've got Cyril's obviously, basically pretending to be sort of part of the resistance, like going to underground meetings and stuff. But then it just ended up being Cassian just leaves, and then Vel and Cinta sort of replace him and go, right, we'll do this job where basically Cyril's fed this information about these cargo things, these armory things. They stop one of the trucks, they rob it, and then two of the resistance guys, the sort of French-German guys, start having an argument. Again, they're on the same team, but they're just arguing.
Because that other guy was just a random guy that was a very opinionated man. He's
not pro-Empire.
He's not pro-Empire.
Definitely pro-Empire. Exactly. They've got and they do the kind of funny heart thing. There's that.
There's an arm.
That's like an offence, I think. And then the other thing's like hello or something when you say goodbye, or hello goodbye. But they're in broad strokes. They're on the same team, but because they were just squabbling, Cinta dies sadly.
Not about that guy.
But it was just
that was a good speech.
It was so good when Vel just was like completely destroyed this guy. I'll be honest, I really enjoyed these 3 episodes. I totally get it. It was like they were slow, but none of it was boring. It was all stuff going on, and you have to understand. You have to kind of keep track of who they mentioned, because obviously they mentioned loads of people. Bail Organa was in it, played by a different guy. And they mentioned a few planets. Unless you've basically just got to concentrate on it. But with Star Wars, I think we've now got so many options where if you need like your Saturday morning sort of cartoon stuff, you kind of got The Mandalorian to an extent, or Book of Boba Fett, where you can have a bit of fun. You don't have to overthink it. Not that Andor's like super big brain, but it's just you have to keep your eye on what's going on. It's never that complicated. I really love the Saw Gerrera stuff.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera is cool, isn't he?
I love this
thing. It's smart seeing him go from this freedom fight that we saw in like kind of Rebels and in Clone Wars to this kind of like. It's only like 2 years away. How does he get so bad in those 2 years?
He's got like one leg in Rogue One, but but he's got the breathing thing, and I saw the joke from an old thing where it's like, what's he breathing in that thing? And it'll be that.
No, it's not, is it? Because clearly he's trying to breathe something that's not.
No, I think it's that stuff. I think he's taking a hit of that stuff for his pain or something. Because obviously he's got one leg.
But he said like at the start, he's like.
It was an accident, wasn't it?
But he said it like it really fucks with you and it makes everything into like glass in your stomach.
Yeah,
or whatever,
it burns your inside and your skin.
And then he's just clearly just like, but I love it.
Yeah. So basically, I was a bit confused, but again, it kind of explains it where the bomb boy from I can't remember his name from the last thing. Do you know what's really, not to bring up Last of Us, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been 5 years in Last of Us and it felt like Ellie didn't age. The little bomb boy, in 1 year, felt like he'd aged 6 years.
Right.
Do you know, from seeing him on the planet with the wheats, and then this.
Wilbom.
Yeah.
Is his name Wilbom?
I'm not quite sure, but he did.
Wilbom. It's something like that. It's like Will something.
But basically, he's got this machine which it's some sort of power extractor. Basically, you plug it into stuff and it takes the fuel.
It's like a key, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you fuck it up,
well, I think
it kills you.
Do you know how like droids do that when they patch it?
Yeah.
And they go, I think it's that, but essentially you've got to have a certain way of turning it like
it's like a safe cracker, yeah. But if you mess it up, it'll kill you. It explodes. Yeah, it
ignites.
Well, I'm guessing it ignites the thing. But
and why are they all different? I don't. Yeah, it was. That
thought,
was a little bit.
No, because I'm guessing
I need to watch like a video on that.
Section or sector or
would have their own key and their own.
And then that's like the start of the first key will be what's its postcode or whatever, and then it'll be this, and there'll be all these different factors. So when you try to unlock the safe, if you already know where you're going, you can preempt
as well.
Yeah,
because that's what you said. You got to work out the pressure.
But yeah, do you know what, a really small thing, but I really loved his mask that he wore when he was actually doing the thing. It was
cool.
it was just like goggles, and then like this piece of like Lego, do you know, with some. But it just was so simple, but looked really, really cool. But basically, he teaches one of Saw's guys how to use this machine, and Saw's like, well, as soon as you know, we'll just kill the kid because he's seen my face. Because it's weird, because obviously you know all the characters, but obviously Saw's not met. You think, oh, you must know him, he's Andor's mate, but then obviously they've never interacted, and Luthen doesn't tell anyone anything.
No, Luthen tries to keep everyone separate on purpose.
So he
doesn't really want to sell, does he?
Yeah. So he teaches this kid. The kid teaches this guy, but then Saw's like, right, he's going to shoot the kid, and then he obviously just shoots the guy because he's been sending information. Because he wants too much information. He's like, well, tell me whereabouts we're going to help me learn.
I understand that, to be honest, because if you were just being thrown into this thing and it was like, right, you've got to learn 30 different combinations.
But then each combination has other combinations inside.
You actually need to know. It's kind of weird. It's like doing a test, and then it's like knowing what the exam.
It's just a subject.
Going to be on.
Yeah,
exactly.
But then it's more precise parts of the thing. But no, I loved all sorts of. They also huffing this fuel. It was making me think.
That's the thing that I kind of can't really get my head around. It's like Saw's like, it's horrible. You see me, I can barely breathe. I'm addicted to this stuff. Like, I love it. And then you're like judging me, just being like, why are you smelling that so desperately? And then he's like, oh yeah, just take the mask off. I just fucking love it. Yeah, I just really like it.
It made me think of Always Sunny when they're trying to. These like glued onto a rat board inside the wall, and they put gasoline on it. Like, let me just check if that's gasoline. They start huffing it, and he goes, do you know what, I need to double check. And they were all just huffing this little thing of gas.
But that was the bit to me that I just couldn't really understand his motivation and why he.
I think Saw just wants. Well, also, what's that kid got in his life? I think it's just.
What's that kid?
No, because he's
just been like.
But he can belong. I think it's just the whole thing of he can go with Saw's lot.
It's not as if Saw's lot are all just in the gas as well. They're stood miles away.
Well, two tubes. You've got those tubes. Where did they come from? What was that for?
But everyone's got tubes. Okay, yeah.
Also, there's a few guys with 2 tubes. I always think it's funny that they're called 2 tubes.
Well, there's the 2 tubes, and then there's that other guy. Then there's the big blonde, like sort of like Yeti looking.
Oh, there's him as well. Yeah.
Everyone's got 2 tubes.
But no, I loved all the Saw stuff. Anything Forrest Whitaker does, he's always got some cool little line, and he's just sort of funny and completely bonkers.
When he was chatting to the guy when he was doing that thing, I was like, just shut up, Saw.
Yeah, he's trying
to trying to like zone him out.
But when I first saw the kid with this sort of machine, because I say that he's obviously selling it to Saw or doing something, I thought it was part of that TIE fighter.
Yeah,
because
I thought it was a navigation computer.
I thought it was a power, because when Cassian steals the TIE fighter, he doesn't know even what powers it. They can't work. They don't know. Yeah. And I thought, is that because he's talking about unlimited power? Or not unlimited power, but like sort of a power source. So I was like, maybe they've taken that out.
Yeah, because he was smelling it and going. He said, I can't do the voice. He said, he's like he was talking about it being a fuel source.
It's like an infinite fuel. I think you can go somewhere, rob the fuel. It's like a battery. You know what I mean? Almost like a battery. You charge it up with some fuel, put it on your ship, and then you can use it to power things. Okay. But it's one of those shit.
Back in the day, right? So when they didn't have navigation computers, that's what I thought this was. Because they used to use force users to navigate. So the pirates back in the day, and this is in the old Republic or the New Republic. They used to not the New Republic. What's it called? The one that was the High Republic. So basically, I thought that's what he was doing. I thought he was using it as a navigation computer.
It's quite cool.
Because it kind of makes a bit more sense. But yeah, it's not.
It's very old school mechanical, like click, click, click. So basically, obviously, the Gorman thing goes to shit, but which we all knew. Cyril's like thinking he's Mr. Cool. Dedra and Cyril.
One thing, while the Gorman stuff's going all to shit, or not going to shit, going quite well, but as well as they want it to go, but obviously
very controlled.
Okay, right. Let's just talk about the one of the main points of what's the face? The main exciting bit was her trying to fucking screw that thing. I love that bit. That was just take a second, love. Just like take your hand off it. You're bleeding. It's clearly not working the way you're doing it.
She has to do it.
Give it a little rattle or something.
I love Krennic, and I love how he just turns up to be a bit of a bitch and just like arguing with Mod. I know they have this little bitchy fight. Yeah. I loved it.
He is just like. Very Pete Winkle, very contentious.
Well, Uncle Pete is going to be mentioned in a few things.
Well, he's Luthen.
He's Luthen
in certain ways, and he's also what's his face.
When they first showed Gorman in like the trailers for this thing, there's a whole Gorman massacre thing which I'd heard about from years back.
Moff Tarkin massacre.
Yeah, I love the fact, so I didn't really know what it was, that Moff Tarkin just parked his car on loads of people. Literally,
essentially,
he's like, I'm going to park here. It's like you can't fucking park here.
You can see Tarkin just being like. put it down.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, but sir, they're civilians. He was like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's like, and it's like, but then more civilians were running in to try and stop him landing. He's like, I just fucking park there. I'm not parking over. I'm not walking.
Yeah.
Like, it's so. But I didn't know what the thing was. But I thought it was so funny.
Shuttle
I think it was just probably a shuttle, yeah. Because it killed a few. Did it kill 1,000 people or something?
No. It was only like I think it was like 20.
But just for parking your car, I just think it's hilariously lazy. Like, because obviously it's the Empire, so I'm sure they could park. They had loads of options. It's just, I want to be right in the middle.
Yeah.
I want to be in Trafford Centre in that the square bit where the dolphin statue is.
I think it's just the fact that they tried to stop him, and that was the point that Kotaku was like, no, put it down.
Yeah.
Put it down. Anyway, yeah. So then after all that happens, we see Bix's revenge.
So just to lead to that. So Andor comes back. He's like, I'm not dealing with this. It's all going to go to shit. Obviously, he's right, but Luthen doesn't care. And then he finds out when he goes back to Bix, he finds out Luthen's sort of been going around to see Bix, which he was really pissed off about. But it's a thing of Luthen's been quite straightforward. He's like, I'm going to use everybody till they fucking die to stop this thing, and I don't give a shit how upset you get. And I think Andor's sort of more realising, oh shit, he is, and he's going to sort of, I can't get out of this now. But Luthen's like, I'm assuming what happened is, because it kind of skips ahead a bit, where I'm guessing the next mission is basically, he needs Bix to be sorted, and the only way they think of doing it is if you crush the fucking guy she's dreaming about.
Yeah.
So it skips ahead to her, got to Gorse.
That was Cassian basically sort of creating his own...
Or him doing it himself, yeah.
Because that's the thing, because we do hear that Gorse has come to Coruscant.
Yes,
because
he's got a new department or something, yeah.
So he was talking, so we heard from the guy that you're talking about.
Partagaz.
We heard from him that he was, and that other guy, what's his name? Loopy? Or
There's Larny, who's like with the moustache.
Yeah. So we heard from him. So I don't know if that was something that Cassian set up or that Luthen set up. Because that would be quite interesting if it's something that Cassian set up, because he's basically setting up his own missions and also doing a very successful mission. Because if he's killed them, then there's no way to torture people in the most successful manner.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So we're seeing Cassian coming into himself without Luthen, or maybe Luthen did just put him on.
I feel like Luthen just goes, here's the code, here's the thing. I love it, and I watched these once, and it's one of these things where you do have to concentrate on it, but there's never a bit where I'm like, oh fuck off. Like the only bit that sort of yada and sort of didn't really think about was at the start when I had Mon Mothma just sort of meeting people, right at the start.
It wasn't a very heavy Mon Mothma 3 episodes.
Which is fine, but then at the end, she's sort of, her and Krennic were just like being sassy. But I'm going to say this every single week. I think 99% of people who are watching these things, how did you watch? Did you just watch them back to back?
Yeah.
Same. Anyone I speak to seems to do the same thing, or they'll watch a couple. I do still feel like they should have just released them as 4 films, or what you're going to call them, episodes, because that's what they are. Because you kind of just like, I'm skipping through the intro, I'm skipping through the bits where it's like, because when this is all over, because obviously we know, I really hope they re-release Rogue One at the cinema, because I'd happily go to after all this. But when it's going to be, what was the best bit of Andor, I'm literally going to go, this arc. I'm not going to go episode 7 or whatever. I think because that's how it's so obviously put together like that.
The way we kind of did it, but even though it wasn't put together like that in the last one, it kind of was. There was those 4 arcs in the same way of each.
But it was edited like that, where an episode would literally almost just go like that, just stop, and then it would start again. It's like, well, that was clearly just meant it. They were just like, well, where do we cut this? Because it's part of the same. It's just how it's put together. It's such an obvious. Because I would say, even with the 1 year left, 2 years left, or whatever, it's so obviously a film. But anyway, I'll mention this every time.
Like people just wouldn't be able to get into it if it was like literally a 2-hour-long film each one, or 2 hours.
No, but I don't think it's even that long though. Because if you take away the credits, but it's not. The credits are so long. They're about 36 minutes each.
The recap as well.
It's like maybe 40 minutes max. You just anyway. That's just.
No, you're right.
But I get it, because people will binge a lot of TV shows.
Is 2 hours.
Yeah, I suppose. But people will binge a load of TV shows, but they won't binge, say, like 2 movies back to back. Oh, that's too many. But they'll watch 10 episodes of whatever. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I say, you could call it a sort of a slow thing, but it kept me entertained the whole way through. I like how it...
compared to the last one, though, it wasn't half as, like,
I think,
rip-roaring. It didn't have as, like,
well,
that first
to me, I do it as from the
moment.
first thing. So, like, from last season, this is the heist episode in terms of where we're up to. Yes, I think the first 2 episodes of heist episodes are quite quiet, if you remember the last season. But that last episode where they fly through is absolutely fantastic. Where they, in the first season, where they go through, where the heist, obviously that kid gets crushed, they go through the I can't know what it's called, the eye.
Yes.
That's sort of unbeatable. But that's how I sort of look at it. But I say, at the end it's just going to be arcs. But I really enjoy it. And the thing that I guess I feel like I'm dying now, but so few bits of media affect me at all, like emotionally. Like I'm enjoying. I'm not talking Last of Us 2. I'm enjoying it, but because I know it, I'm not. I don't emotional. I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah. I'm not.
But
emotional, I get that.
in this, Kimi no Nawa, the film, the Japanese film,
Yeah.
the music on that makes me feel very upset. Like
Right,
I hear that
okay.
music and it has like a built-in thing of rain.
Yeah.
In Andor, the kind of there's this little piece of music,
Yeah.
and it reminds me, obviously, his mum dying in the last season, and the little robot B2 being like upset. Little bits of music in Andor really, and I'd say like these
And
episodes I've seen like once, but they have such an impact. Whereas I think Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, what's it called, Ahsoka, which weren't all. I'm not saying these are terrible. Obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't great, but there's not a single second of music that has any sort of effect to me. And loads of these songs I've only ever heard once before, but they're so. I don't know who does the music. Like Mandalorian that has great music. Like,
but it's not. It's the same thing though. You're right though. It's not emotion. It's not emotion bringing. Like I feel like Leia's. Okay, let's just say Leia's theme.
It's a great thing. Yeah, and it gets you.
It does get you.
Yeah,
but like when they did that in Obi-Wan Kenobi, because they were like, "Look, it's Leia."
Yeah,
I wasn't like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
But there are, like, you're right. You're like, Kimi no Na wa is probably a good way to
certain things. But I can watch.
Say, like, there's a bunch of other songs like that get me straight away. Like "Time" by Hans Zimmer, for some reason gets me. There's a few other little songs, but I get what you mean. But now this Brassos theme does kind of get me a little bit.
The Brassos
theme, play that little bit, and Niamos kind of gets me really because I think about it.
But it's I don't know who I'll put it up here who the composer is, but it's so good, and a lot of it I know it's the whole thing of the first season where each part of each intro had a slightly different bit of the theme, and then they all go together. It's like basically the funeral march is like I just think it's incredibly well put together, and even things like that I still loved it, but like Game of Thrones stuff, there's bits like the Red Wedding theme, like the Reigns of Castle bit. There's little songs where you go, but Andor, so many times I go, like it gets me, and it's just so few things nowadays that like, because I'm just old and.
No, I just think that's it. You're just not having. This is amazing. This is like.
I think it's good. So good.
For Star Wars fans, I'd say
it's so good. And if you think it's too slow, you think it's boring, fine. We've got loads of other stuff to watch. But I think we've got such a good choice. But I still put this so far ahead of everything else. And as much as obviously Force Awakens has got some good bits, but I still think this is.
Yeah, you're right. It's
so much better. I could pick so many bits of the past. Even Rogue One to the extent has little bits where you go, you could have tidied that up a bit. Do you know, especially the start where it's like this planet, this planet, this planet, this planet. Yeah. But there's no cringe, there's no bullshit. It's just, this is this, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. But you never go, oh, it's shit. Every minute, every shot, everything is, you can tell they care and effort's been put in.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely love it. I can't wait till next week. My voice is completely gone. Obviously, it's absolutely fantastic, and just
watch it if you've not watched it. But then you wouldn't be watching this if you don't.
Yeah, you've obviously seen it. You know, we love it.
Yeah.
But I look back at my IMDb. Andor's the only thing where I actually rate per episode. And even last season, there's a few 7s in there where they're just like, this episode's fine. But then you'll just have those, the Eye, the One Way Out. Bits are just absolutely like.
But because it is quite like in these sort of like arcs, it's not as if those episodes don't mean anything afterwards. It's like they kind of do add.
They're building.
They're
always building.
Without those episodes,
something.
You wouldn't have the Eye or the moment in the Eye where they see it and stuff
like
that.
The only thing which I kind of thought yesterday, because I've completely forgotten about, was his sister.
Oh, what? Yeah. Well,
because someone mentioned that he used to be a bit. I think Bix mentions
always after his sister.
Yeah, but only the first episode.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be something quite, because life's just what it is, and I think there'll be something about it if they just don't. He obviously gets to Rogue One. He never finds it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think it shouldn't have to be. Oh, there she is.
Like,
because that's not life. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I get that.
And I think there'd be something a bit brave to just go, oh no, she's actually on some planet, but we never see her. But no, I love it. I love all Cyril's little office with those computers that everyone works on at the back that have like kind of like Bakelite backs on them. Just every bit of it I love.
I fucking love Cyril.
He's so lame, but he's just like.
Cyril and I love Dedra.
Oh yeah,
they're both so good together. Yeah. They are so good when he was,
But I just love how he's like on the little roof and he goes, I'm so fucking cool. This is the best. When he explains the part of gas, he's like, this is the best day of my life. Like after he's had his little work speech.
Do you know what's quite funny? Was like that guy was like, it'll be an honour, sir.
Oh yeah,
he's like, really?
Yeah,
it's just an assignment.
Yeah, he said like calibrate your enthusiasm. I'm like, I fucking love it. But no, I absolutely love it. Roll on the next few episodes.
Yeah.
I love it. If you don't love it, that's absolutely fine. Watch whatever you like. But
watch what you like.
Watch what you fucking like. I don't care. I've got this. Bastards. Yeah. Anyway, I've got to go. I've got to work. Right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Should we just do a proper thank you for watching?
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you very much.
Are you sure it's gasoline, though? I should just try it again. Jesus!